not nervous about the competition, but I'm always nervous about the racing. You know, you have to get some jitters every time you get in that boat.
Preparation. Make sure everything's tied down, locked down, zip tied, wire tied.
Keep safe and keep the throttle all the way out.
Keep your eyes on the water and watch your speed. That's all I can say.
As the throttles hit and you start racing, that's it. There's tunnel vision. You take over and you just go with it.
And I feel as ready as could be. We feel very confident.
Welcome to Trinidad and Tobago, just 11 kilometers apart, but worlds away in what they have to offer. Trinidad, with its pristine mangrove swamps and rich rainforested mountains, surrounds an electric nightlife. It's also home to the region's biggest and most beautiful carnival celebration. Tobago is everything you'd expect from a Caribbean island. With palm trees and white sand, it's perfect to smother your lazy days. With clear skies and ecstatic fans, one is welcome to the Carib Great Race 2015, the longest running offshore race in the Western Hemisphere. This is where good vibes and healthy competition collide as the racing fraternity gets ready for one of their biggest years yet, with a record 5 boats in the 130 miles per hour class and over 20 boats racing them to Tobago to capture the coveted title of fastest boat to Tobago. The excitement is contagious with racers and fans alike. The day promises to be filled with endless powerboat action and competition from the Superboat International Circuit with the former Aquamania, Snack Attack, Miss Geico and Fury. Not to mention, we have the first Turbine powerboat to race in Trinidad. You will want a front row seat. As crowds cheer loud and the boom of the tumbling engines echo around the Gulf, get ready for the Carib Great Race 2015. Let's take in the action, packed with thrills galore, boats launching off waves, and a very close race.
It's the 47th running of Carib Great Race, and here the big boys sit, waiting their turn to start. And it's Conqueror in the lead from the very start of the race. Conqueror, a 21-foot Bowen powered by a Mercury 250 XS. They're in the 60 mile per hour G class, which takes a shorter course to Tobago and starts 15 minutes earlier. This class has 5 boats: Conqueror, Rugrat, Powered by God 2, Outcast and Infusion 4. Conqueror is the boat to beat in this class, as they have won all their races this season during the 5 regattas hosted in the Gulf of Paria. And here we have Rugrat following closely behind Conqueror, as you can see by the wake on their starboard side. New entrant in this class in their first Carib Great Race. Let's see if their regatta experiences put them in good stead for the race ahead. In third place, Powered by God 2, also a new entrant to Carib Great Race, and our lone entrant from Tobago. This is a 24-foot Formula 3 powered by a Yamaha 200 horsepower. Behind them are Outcast and Infusion 4, picking up momentum and trying to close the gap. Nerves on edge, anxious moments as the rest of the field prepare for their start. Mr. Solo shoots out in front to take the lead on the first leg of the circuit in the Gulf of Paria. And look at him go, a lighter boat with more punch and acceleration. The 70 and 80 mile per hour classes go straight out to the first Boca, while 95, 120 and 130 classes do a 2 mile circuit in the Gulf before heading out around Gaspery to the first Boca. Coming into the first corner, we have Mr. Solo, Total Monster, Vortex and Fire One, bunched closely together, each setting up for a different line into the first corner. Mr. Solo rounds the marker first, but Total Monster takes the corner much tighter and just passes Mr. Solo on the second mark. Meanwhile, Vortex takes a wider line, probably trying to keep their speed up through the corner, which ends up not working in their favour. Coming into the straight, the Turbine spools quicker, allowing them to catch Fire One. Energizer in the 80 mile per hour class, a 37-foot Bowen, the longest boat in their class, a little slower in the Gulf, but definitely one to watch on the north, where length is strength. Elixir, a 30-foot Motion powered by twin Mercury 300 Pro Max outboards. This hull, formerly Cutting Edge, was the 1998 Great Race winner. Last year they encountered some problems, but nonetheless finished third. So this year, with some extra time and effort gone into ensuring everything is in mint condition, they try to capture a win in their class. Back in the battle with the big boys, the 130 class, Mr. Solo has taken back the lead from Total Monster, with Fire One and Vortex on the stern. Coming into the last corner on the circuit, Total Monster again using their experience to hug the markers closer, and again putting a pass on Mr. Solo. Vortex setting up for a tight turn, ends up getting a wash down as they cross Mr. Solo's wake. Total Monster has back the lead with Mr. Solo and Vortex closing in rapidly. Looks like Fire One having an issue as they are slowing a bit. Papi Chulo leads in the 80 mile per hour class, followed closely by Outlaw. Both are new boats in this class this year. Outlaw, however, has gained some valuable experience in the regattas this year, which definitely will be to his advantage as they head out towards the Boca. Outlaw starts to close the gap and using the straightest line as the shortest distance strategy, continue to pass Papi Chulo, who has taken a wider and longer line. That's real experience for you. Vortex makes their move to pass Total Monster in an effort to reel back in Mr. Solo, who has taken back the lead. Mr. Solo sitting comfortably in front, not realizing the rate at which Vortex is closing in on the starboard side. Mr. Solo, a 39-foot NTI Schism Cat, and a long-time Great Race winner with Mr. Ken Charles back at the wheel. After having sat out several regattas this year due to injuries, he's looking to reel in a win once again and get back on the winner's podium with his magic team. Almost side by side heading to Point Belen, Mr. Solo looking to close the opening on Vortex. This is where the racing separates the men from the boys. And wow, a crazy spectator boat in the middle of the race course. Not just dangerous for him, but to the racers as well. Excellent driving by the racers as they close together and avoid an accident with his over-enthusiastic spectator. And now it's Vortex taking the lead for the first time in the race, right on Point Belen, looking to capture the trophy for the first boat to Canning's Point in their class.
The stage is set, and Act 1 opens where the mineral-rich waters of the Gulf of Paria meets the warm blue waters of the Caribbean Sea, a place we know is down the islands. These breathtaking, beautiful islands once supported a flourishing whaling industry, coconut plantations, and small communities of fishermen. Today, they are a holiday paradise to relax, to fish, or simply enjoy oneself with friends, a cold Carib, and a good lime. But on this day, the scene is different, as the channel between Trinidad and Venezuela, the Bocas, also known as the Dragon's Mouth, roars with excitement. Hundreds of spectator boats lay in waiting to get a glimpse of the Powerboat as they conquer the Dragon's Mouth and fly into the open sea. The racing crew must be ready for what the Boca has in store. Many boats before them have been swallowed up in its fiery fury. To prepare, they must make sure their ballast tank is full of water and that their trim is set up just right, so that when they do hit the clawing waves, the boat will be perfectly balanced and be able to fly over nice and level. So buckle up, this is not going to be a smooth ride.
Conqueror made it into the Boca first with Rugrat in close pursuit. Powered by God 2 still holds third place in the 60 mph class. Then we have Outlaw leading the 80 mph class with Papi Chulo and Elixir close behind. Now it's Energizer coming in as Heatwave makes a move and passes on the starboard side, taking the shorter track. Now the 130s roar in with Monster gaining on Mr. Solo and Vortex. Chris Gone Wild leading the 70 mph class follows shortly after. Fire 1 looking like they're back up to speed, trying to close back that gap. Jumbie moving nicely and leading the 120 mph class, literally flying out the Dragon's Mouth. Paramount off to a late start due to a penalty, taking their time working through the spectator boats. Bacchanal leading the 95 mile per hour class. Engines tucked in, powering through the Boca onto the north. Sheriff Lobo following closely behind Bacchanal. Sheriff Lobo is a 29-foot Extreme, which previously raced as Intense 2 and one of the shorter hulls in the 95 class, so he has to push to keep up and stay within striking distance if he wants to take home the win in this class. Next is Ultra Rush, a 38-foot Boeing powered by two 750 horsepower Chevy inboard engines. Then it's Stampede, trying to make up time as they started with a 3-minute penalty and looking to catch Jumbie on the north. Gone are the calm waters of the Gulf of Paria, and now it's open ocean racing, with Vortex still in the lead, and now feeling the lumps and bumps of the water by cat and dog, with Mr. Solo and Total Monster closing in. One by one, Vortex, Mr. Solo and Total Monster passed the 80 mile per hour boats, while setting their trim for the new water conditions. Quickly, Total Monster powers past on the port side and take the lead in the now turbulent water. Vortex does a close pass by Elixir, trying to keep with the new pace that Total Monster has dialed in. So this is where the ocean takes over from the calm waters of the Gulf, and the boats and the bodies have to set themselves up for the beating ahead. It looks like everybody's surprised by the rough conditions outside the Boca. Expecting calm conditions, they're now getting beat up. Going through the minds of the racers right here is, will the boat hold up in these sort of conditions? And will their bodies hold up in these sort of conditions? Mr. Solo drops back a bit, but still in striking distance as seen by their running in the wake of Vortex. It's in these conditions where the length really starts to make a difference. Fast Track, a 35-foot motion cat powered by two Mercury 525s, now out the Boca. This also is a new boat in the 95 class and ran in the last regatta of the season, and now in its first carb grade race. What's this? It's starting to slow down. Are we seeing our first breakdown in the north? Just radioed in that they are out. Now it's Stampede with Navigator and Throttle Man checking out their problem. Race Control just confirmed throttle cable broken. Also out is Dynamite Right Formula in the 70 mile per hour class, which had an issue with one of their outboards and dropped out before the first Boca. Uh-oh, it never rains but pours. Heat wave now in problems. But Marcus, in his latest style shorts, climbing out to fix the problem. And now it's back to the lead pack of Total Monster, Vortex and Mr. Solo on the rough waters off tracking station. Interesting to watch the different hull configurations and sizes as they take on the challenging seas, jumping from wave to wave as they accelerate to close the gap on each other. Vortex is a 50-foot Mystic with two Teeth 53 turbine engines, pumping out a whopping 2,800 horsepower. Now you see the speed differences between the classes, with Monster walking past Outcast, one of the 60 mile per hour boats. Passing Soto, Total Monster continues to hold the lead, as you can see Vortex and Mr. Solo not far behind. These water conditions take a lot more work and coordination from the crews, and this certainly is not the calm everyone expected to find this morning with Hurricane Danny passing through. The racers are taking a beating for sure today, even the ones with the suspension seats. Just watch Joey as he bounces in his seat. That's total monster trimmed and racing straight up the north. Mr. Solo also taking the beating but pushing to try and close that gap. These smaller boats really take a beating out in the north coast. While this team is from Tobago and a bit more accustomed to the rough waters between Scarborough and Roxborough. This team is determined to make it home to Tobago, and this boat, already having had an issue, fixed it, so they're going to stick to it with no turning back, because home is at the end of the race. Word just in from race control is that extreme measures in the 70-mile-per-hour class just broke down and heading back to Port of Spain. Now we have an alarm in Fire 1. What is Guy saying? Can I repeat? Bleep bleep? Woohoo! Does this mean Fire 1 is out of the race? We'll keep you posted. Marcus obviously got it fixed and Heatwave is back in the race now in the back of the 80-mile-per-hour class. Just in from race control, Fire 1 had to shut down and starboard engine due to low oil pressure. They found an oil line fitting had broken due to the engine mount breaking in the rough conditions. As you can see again here with the conditions Heatwave is experiencing. Sheriff Lobo been running a bit slow, not sure if it's in the conditions or having technical problems. Nonetheless, they're still in the race and coming up to Maracas shortly. Just in from race control, Jumbie has had to drop out due to electrical issues, GPS not working and all kind of Jumbies running around the boat, so they are heading back to Port of Spain. Also word in that power mount is out. They suffered broken engine mounts off tracking station and are being towed back as we speak. Just reconfirms that the north is really kicking today, and anything loose or not in tip-top condition is going to give way with the beating of the seas. Infusion 4, not sure if it's experiencing trouble or it's just the rough conditions. They are back of the pack at the 60 mile per hour and only losing more ground as they travel ever so slowly to Maracas. Sheriff Lobo now picked back up pace and making their way to Maracas.
On the north coast, where the carpeted forested mountains leap out of the sea and reach for the sky. Soon, these elevations will part to reveal Maracas Bay, one of the more popular beaches on the island. Maracas Bay is dazzling with its powdered white sands, palm trees, and forestry that encircles the area, while the sound of the rolling waves and the kiss of the cooling trade winds is embraced by the delicious aroma of tasty shark and bake by all who venture here. The roar of the engines will soon awaken this sleeping inlet as the powerboats carve their way around the bay and head back out to the beckoning ocean. This too will present a vantage point for the racing crews as to where their competitors lie in the imposing course. As Maracas Bay fades into the background, the focus now turns to Grand Riviere, where man and machine can take a break from the punishing waves they left behind and prepare for the unpredictable rollers of the Atlantic Ocean, which will present a more formidable challenge for boat and crew as they race towards victory.
Total Monster and Vortex just round the mark of Maracas as Mr. Solo enters the bay, trailing slightly behind. They need to pick up the pace if they want to stay in striking distance of the leaders. Energizer leading the 80 mile per hour class is the next boat in, with Outlaw close behind. Followed by Elixir and Papichulo, close on their stern. Next is Bhagan, still leading 95 class. And Wayne takes a quick look across the bay to see how close is Ultra Rush and Chris Gone Wilder. And here is Ultra Rush, followed closely by White Heat, who is in 5th place, but still a boat to watch due to the Tardier boys' years and years of experience. Now it's Heatwave trailing the 80 mile per hour and Sheriff Lobo trailing 95 mile per hour classes, coming in together into Maracas. Both boats are identical hulls, just different power setup. The reason why they are different is speed classes. Heatwave running a tighter and straighter line and passing Sheriff Lobo before the mark. Remember, in these conditions, none of the boats are running at their top speeds, and that is how you will have a slower boat passing a faster boat. It's all about who can take the most beating. Vortex dialed in and trying to close the gap on Total Monster, which has widened by this time, as evidenced with no wake at all. Mr. Solo trying hard to close up on Vortex. Vortex was rigged by the great Miss Geico team from the US, led by Gary Stray. These guys are among the top race mechanics in the world. This boat used to race in the Superboat International Circuit in the States as Aquamania. The turbine engines are similar to the ones found in some military helicopters and pump out whopping amounts of force. Here is Mr. Solo bouncing out of Maracas, strategizing on when to make their move. The crew surely feeling the pounding of the waves as they try to close the gap on Total Monster and Vortex. Here's some front row seating for the Las Cuevas fishing crews as they watch Vortex and Mr. Solo pass. Just in from race control, Infusion 4 also out of the race in Maracas, and Outcast and Powered by God 2 passing them trying to catch Conqueror and Rugrat, who lead the 60 mile per hour class. Hold on, more info in. Papi Chulo in the 80 mile per hour class, also out. This water is really giving the boats a hard time today. It really will be the stronger ones that will survive. Total Monster is a 46-foot skater with 2 Sterling motors, pumping out a 1,700 horsepower. This year there's even more competition as we have brother versus brother racing. Joey driving Monster and Alan throttling Vortex. Total Monster 46-foot skater, 4 feet shorter than Vortex, the 50-foot Mystic, but much heavier and more solid boat. And this hull clearly handles these rough conditions better, as you can see before you. All the boats have backed down now under speed and concentrating on keeping the boat together to reach the finish. So now the 130 mile per hour class is running at around 70 miles per hour. This is Total Monster's 5th great race. They've had 2 breakdowns and 2 wins, and are now heading off to try to win their hat-trick. Looking closely, you can see Vortex splash in the background with Total Monster holding a comfortable lead. Mr. Solo now making a move on Vortex, as you can see them running in Vortex's wake in their blind spot. I wonder if Vortex is taking a nap or having some troubles, as Mr. Solo's creeping up fast behind. In a long race like this, racers, especially throttle men, may lose some concentration when running by themselves. So it's all about focus, focus, focus. Clearly, Mr. Solo has sped up, as you can see from the height of their jumps from the water. Mr. Solo making a move now as they have changed course and looking for the straighter line to Grand Revere to do a pass. Running right up on Vortex side by side. Wonder if Vortex is sleeping, as we previously mentioned. Nope, looks like they didn't see Mr. Solo, but clearly they have now dropped the hammer and they don't plan to let him pass. Now you see the battle between a 50-foot boat and a 39-foot boat. Mr. Solo jumping in the background. Maybe they need a longer boat? Looks like Vortex has no intention of letting Mr. Solo pass at this stage of the race. What's that? Fire? Bet you didn't see that flame out of the poor turbine. Total Monster holding their lead and coming up on Grand Revere. Oh, it's another breakdown, this time Energizer. Wonder what happened. Looked like the seat broke. That's rough water to do that. White Heat has now moved into second place in the 80-mile-per-hour class. And we've just been informed Elixir has stopped by a patrol boat and doing some repairs, desperately trying to get back in the race. White Heat is a 32-foot Bowen powered by 3 Johnson outboards, giving a total of 750 horsepower. These 3 Tardier brothers have been racing Great Race for the past 3 decades. Chris Gone Wilder now in third place in the 95-mile-per-hour class, trying to close on Ultra Rush. Rugrat now off Blancheshire is running a little slower since we saw them last, but still a solid second in the 60-mile-per-hour class. Now it's Outlaw leading the 80-mile-per-hour class. Remember, this is a new boat to the class. A 29-foot Extreme with a Mercury 525. This crew used to race in the 60-mile-per-hour class in a boat called Overdose. It's a pity Energizer broke, as they had a comfortable lead on Outlaw, but that's racing. Elixir is on the move again. The spark plug wire came loose. They got a lot of water to cover to make up now. Looks like they have decided to take their time and just make sure they finish the race. Conqueror still in the lead and heading to Grand Revere, taking it easy and making sure they keep the boat together in these rough conditions. Remember, the 60-mile-per-hour boats run a shorter course. They run from the Boca to Grand Revere and Grand Revere straight to Scarborough. Rush coming up on Grand Revere. However, Bacchanal almost into the bay, heading for the mark, so they have a comfortable lead on Ultra Rush, who's in second place with Triscon Wilder and Sheriff Lobo following. Normally we don't see this boat leaving the water too much, as it's solid and has good weight, but these conditions continue to challenge everyone along the way.
Now takes center stage, where the leatherback turtles embark on their impressive journey up the beach to lay their eggs, where river kayaking, bird watching, and hiking up the beautiful waterfalls all round off this perfect ecotourism hub. This is a turning point in the race as the powerboats leave Trinidad and follow a heading on their GPS to Tobago. It's a critical point in the course, as Tobago sometimes clothes herself in a gentle mist, so logging onto the right heading is crucial. Conditions from here can become very angry. Some even describe it as being plunged into a washing machine in an unforgiving cycle. This area is known as the Shallows, but at last, Tobago will soon show herself, and the knowledge of only one more leg will propel each crew to push to their maximum potential.
It's Total Monster fully dialed in, comfortably in the lead, heading to Grand Revere. Around the mark, and it's now for the real challenge of the crossing to Store Bay. Vortex not far behind, and Solo always trying to sneak up on Vortex. Water conditions change again right here, and it's clear that it's even rougher than expected. The big boys have it down to 60 miles per hour as they try to feel the rhythm of the waters during the crossing and dial the boat in to get the best ride across. Wow, that could be dangerous. A trip like that could cause a boat to stuff, which means the bow goes straight into the water, but luckily Vortex has enough length to avoid that happening. Looks like they got it settled back down now, and Mr. Solo as well. Don't let anyone tell you it was a smooth ride across. At this stage the boats can't see Tobago, so it's all about GPS coordinates and compass heading, trying to keep the shortest line, bearing in mind the cross seas that you are faced with as you head to the shallows. These cross seas really are best taken head on, and you get a better landing when you do leave the water, but a smoother ride means a longer ride, and that's where you lose the race. During this part of the race, a lot of pressure falls on the driver, who is by now pretty tired. I'm sure Ken is, based on the beating Mr. Solo has been taking. But here is where they find it deep inside and pull out that reserve to keep it on the edge and going in the right direction. As you can see, Vortex is just off the starboard of Total Monster. Not really just off, actually quite a way behind, and they better put down the hammer to get back into closer striking distance. Hope those comm boys in the back seat aren't asleep and keeping the team abreast of who is trying to sneak up on them. Now excitement must be building. When you start to get this close and you know your boat's running as Total Monster is, you start to get the first taste of a win. Makes you sit on the edge of your seat and listen to every sound in the boat, hoping that everything continues to hold together. Peter telling Joey, no, too much to the right, keep left. Bacchanal gone around the mark already and on the way to Store Bay as Ultra Rush now comes in to take the mark and try to close up on Bacchanal. As Ultra Rush heads off from Grand Revere, Conqueror just ahead of Outlaw is going around the mark in the bay, with Chris Gone Wilder not far behind. Just in from race control, Sheriff Lobo has stopped. Gremlins at work again. Oh no, looks like Ultra Rush has a problem. Engine cover open. Bacchanal must be smiling as they are opening up the lead even further while Ultra Rush tries to sort themselves out. Guys seem to have this boat trimmed well, and it's clear they are pushing it and doing a good job at it. Boat seems to be well balanced. I'll look at it level as it leaves the water. This boat has won the 95 mph class a couple of times, first as Stinging Metal and last year as Bacchanal. Looks like they may be doing it again this year. Bacchanal is a 38-foot fountain with twin Mercury 525s, comfortable suspension seats and all the trimmings needed to run like a beast. Speeds now jumping back up into the high 70s as Vortex start to make a run from Total Monster, who while out of the frame has also stepped up their speed. Notice Total Monster ahead in the far left corner of the screen. While it's their maiden run in the Carib Grade race and they have very modest saying, we only want to finish. Yeah, we know that kind of talk. They really want to win this race this year and show what Turbine power is capable of. Dialed in nicely, running sweet. Oh, what's that? Fire again. That doesn't look good. Looks like they're slowing down. Uh-oh, gremlins. That black smoke doesn't augur well. Let's hope it's not something bad, because Mr. Solo is closing in and Total Monster is saying goodbye, boys. When you see Alan hold his head like that, we don't even need to hear from race control. That's the end of their day. Mr. Solo speeds past and takes up second place, going after Total Monster.
Tobago relaxes in the southern Caribbean Sea, where the pace of life is delightfully slow. No need to rush. The day belongs to a comfortable beach chair, caressing winds and salty kisses. Sink into the nylon pool formed by nature in the sea, or discover that yours are the only footsteps on no man's land. This is Tobago. All eyes face southward, looking for the spray of water from the boats as they head towards Torbay, once home to the finish of the Carib Great Race. Many actually wish the race still ended here, as the next part is the most challenging. As they round the tip of Tobago, the crew members know that the race is not over yet, as this exhausting section of the race has unforgivable swells and shallow reefs to navigate around. The crew by now is feeling the inexorable pressure of the punishing course. The area is littered with memories from years gone by of boats dying just mere meters from the end. Victory will soon present herself, and the winning boat will bask in her glory. This is the Carib Great Race 2015. There is nothing quite like it.
So what's this? We know Trottlemen sleep, but it seems the navigators in the back of Total Monster almost let them miss the mark. Lucky Peter and Joey is on the ball. Good old hand signals never let you down. So Total Monster round the mark in Store Bay and heading for Columbus Point with a comfortable lead. Just in from race control, Rugrat broken down off Paria. Also, Mr. Solo now coming into Store Bay and rounding the mark. Funny how the waters in this area are supposed to be quite rough, and it actually looks calmer than most of what we have seen before. Especially so as Total Monster has dropped the hammer, smelling the wind and making sure they open up the gap between first and second place. Now let's go to Carly and see how the partying is going in Scarborough.
We are here in Scarborough. It is race day and the weather is brilliant as always. Excitement is in the air as we wait to see who crosses that finish line first. Okay, so I hear this is the boatman and this is the bearman. What's the best bear?
Caribbean, of course.
And what's the best boat?
Mr. Solo, of course.
Vibes pumping, everybody excited. Everybody want to see who winning. We line up there. We don't know Solo going to win this, for sure. No competition.
Looks like the Mr. Solo fans don't know that the Total Monster is growling and eating up the water as it storms past Columbus Point. Still a few lumps, but nonetheless they have dropped the hammer. I think I heard an ouch inside that cockpit. They really have this boat dialed in nicely. Just look how it glides over the waters.
We're here with two Fire One supporters. We've heard Fire One has shut down. How are you feeling?
Well, a little disappointed, but I'm still a major supporter of Fire One, and I know that there's a good reason, and I know that next year we'll be back out.
The race is not for the swiftest, who can endure?
It is who can endure. The spectator is so right. That's what Carib Great Race is all about, and these boys here have endured it. At this point, it's been 1 hour and 20 minutes of pure torture. So many boats have reached this far and never made the finish line, so it's still far from over. Now passing Magdalena Grande and making sure they stay wide off the reef, which would definitely destroy more than their hopes of a win. Coming up on Lambeau, they definitely have stepped up the speed, covering distance so quickly. Now looking into the morning sun and trying to find those markers. Don't want to miss one here.
What do you feel like the vibes today?
Well, if the vibes, right now I'm looking to go and improve on my vibes. If I could have myself a balanced diet, which means caribbean my right hand and caribbean my left hand.
Caribbean is synonymous with Trinidad and Tobago culture, and it's important for us to play a vital role every year to develop the country.
And I just want to hope that everybody comes in safe and that everybody is happy within themselves, that they have done their best.
Total Monster has entered the finishing circuit. Excitement as the boat roars into Scarborough. Will they get the elusive hat trick or will gremlins catch them here? Many boats have lost it right here near the end. Coming round the first mark by the port and now heading for the next mark, then going down past Red Rock. Got to be careful here as the water becomes very shallow and all you need is one freak wave and it could be all over. Rounding the markers that keeps them away from the reef around Red Rock, they line up for the final straight, which takes them to victory. Peter tends to put the hammer down, so if anything breaks, they will glide over the finish line. And here it's Total Monster at its best, coming to take the win. Carib Great Race 2015, and it's Total Monster fastest boat to Tobago and winner of the 130 mile per hour class. And most important, they got the elusive hat trick of 3 wins in a row. Now it's celebration time on board Total Monster. Mr. Solo here trying to break the spell of the last few years' bad luck and doing their utmost to finish this race to Scarborough. It'll be their first time finishing in Scarborough over the last 3 years. And here they go into the final stretch. I think that anti-gremlin spray is working well as the boat is gliding over the waves past Red Rock and onto the finish line. Mr. Solo fans must be dancing and rejoicing watching their favourite boat go round the circuit. Thousands and thousands line the shore from as far as Lambo and throughout the Esplanade. It's an all-day party here with Carib, almost like a holiday here in Scarborough. In from race control, Sheriff Lobo seems to have fixed their problem and are on the move again, albeit very slowly. Now Mr. Solo crosses the line for the second fastest boat to Tobago and second in the 130 mile per hour class. Now we have Bacchanal passing Magdalena Grande heading to the finish. Sorry, just in from race control, Sheriff Lobo has stopped again. They just radioed in that they found the Rugrat crew in the waters off Paria, as Rugrat seems to have sunk. Good news is Andrew and Dale are fine. Race control mobilizing the necessary and available safety and rescue teams to coordinate and rescue effort. We'll keep you posted as more news comes in. Back to Bacchanal, still running beautifully. The boys really have it trimmed nicely. As they enter the circuit, the crowd on shore roar with approval. It's really Bacchanal in the place. Wayne and Justin look like just another day in the office. It's Bhagan, third fastest boat to Tobago and first in the 95 mile per hour class. Good race, guys, and only a few minutes behind the big boys. Chris Gone Wilder is now in second in the 95 class, as Ultra Rush broke down again off the Columbus Point and still trying to fix. Update on Rugrat. Boys out of the water and now safely on Paria Beach, along with Justin, who is not well and left his boat, Sheriff Lobo. Sheriff Lobo still at a standstill, but safe in the water off Paria with Shamu on board. Chris Gone Wilder powers into Scarborough to take second place in the 95 mile per hour class. Outlaw close behind and entering the final circuit to take first place in the 80 mile per hour class, dumping water from the bow tank as they cross the finish line. Conqueror entering the circuit, the first 60 mile per hour boat to reach, and they have held their lead from the start. Smallest boat to reach Scarborough and first locally built boat to Tobago. Just in, White Heat is now passing Magdalena Grand, Ultra Rush partially fixed and now heading back to Store Bay. Heatwave going around the marker in Store Bay with Elixir not far behind. Chris Gone Wild and Powered by God 2 heading to Columbus Point. Remember, they don't go to Store Bay. Report in from race control at TTPBA1, now on Paria Beach, to assist Rugrat crew and Justin off Sheriff Lobo. Emergency response procedures instituted and being followed. Also advised that Sheriff Lobo is back on the move and making the way to Store Bay with Andrew from Rugrat in the driver's seat, while Dale from Rugrat and Justin from Sheriff Lobo are on TTPBA1 leaving Paria Beach. This is a fantastic end to the season for Conqueror, as with this win they pretty much seal high points champion for their class and for overall season. White Heat and the Tardier boys secure second place in the 80 mile per hour class. Excellent run considering Richard was seen installing a rebuilt powerhead the day before. Heatwave coming in slowly, nonetheless securing third in the 80 mile per hour class. Guess they don't want to push it too hard as the fixes of the day may break again. Chris Gone Wild heading into Scarborough to take first place in the 70 mile per hour class. Actually, the only one in that class to make it to the end. Elixir coming around the finish circuit to take fourth in the 80 mile per hour class, taking their time, clearly making sure that they do make it to the finish line. And just in, Powered by God 2 broke down again off Magdalena Grand and took a tow as they were getting pretty close to the breaking waters by the reef. Just to advise that Sheriff Lobo finished third in the 95 mile per hour class, based on the rules and timing of when he stopped to assist the team from Rugrat.
race winners 2015.
Competition.
Oh, absolutely. And we knew that they would keep up with us for a certain time, but when I saw the conditions out there coming through the Boca, we have the boat for the rough water. There's no doubt about it, you know. Absolutely, you know. Been racing since 1993. This is now my 5th great race win overall, but my first hat trick, and it's been a great race.
Racing 44 years in a great race. This is the roughest race I've ever been in.
All the predictions stated that it was going to be 1 foot, calm water. Everything pointing towards Vortex being the boat to beat, which they still were the boat to beat, but not knowing that the old experienced guys would have had a greater chance.
I would like to say fantastic preparation on Monster's part. They really are the boat of the day.
To finish that race is an achievement.
Of course.
So, hats off to all the boats that finished today.
They are the better prepared boat this year, definitely. Congratulations to the Monster team. But to know that, you know, we ran behind them the whole race and into Tobago was just a good feeling. So we'll be back next year and we'll be better prepared and better improved.
In other words, they had done what they had to do and they were there. So I think we'll be seeing a lot more of them. And with Monster retiring or supposedly retiring, Vortex may be the boat to beat now.
Congratulations to the crew of Total Monster.
It feels great to actually get to Scarborough a 3rd time. I mean, from the first time, we won great race. It was a great feeling. The 2nd time, amazing to make it there twice. And then we decided, right, we had to make the hat trick. And here we are finally making the hat trick.
Well, the water this day was smoking. We took a beating. Thank God we had suspension seats, because without that, I think my back might be broken right now. But the boat performed perfectly. I mean, we came across in one piece. We had a minor problem by Grand River, but fixed that and came up the road. The boat ran really well. First place in the 80 mile per hour class. What else could you ask for?
We were actually amazed how the boat handled and the re-entry. The boat never got out of control. We dropped on our sides a few times, but it corrected beautifully. But so did everybody else. The boat setup is amazing and it will compete here in these conditions. We just need to go back to the drawing board with a few minor things, you know, and just get things in there tighter. We didn't anticipate a rough race, but at the end of the day, we are very happy with how the boat ran in this sort of water.
You ahead of them. Why are you going to win beyond them?
Just better looking. We won already.
Length is strength in the great race, you know.
Length is strength. Can we have that one more time?
Length is strength in the bedroom too.
Two competitors in the same class. What do you have to say to each other now?
That's clear. What's this, like MMA or what?
Feeling like a real carb girl now.
The conversation stopped because our intercom went down. So we were doing sign language, all sorts of this and that and fingers and giving each other fingers.
To anybody who doubts you, what do you have to say to them coming out with all the new competition? Fire one! Game over!